I am really gonna miss the shaders. I know you guys prefer the game without them, but it's been such a nice experience to see my world through new eyes. Never used shaders before, this was my first time, and while it didn't last long, you know, I enjoyed it while we had the opportunity. Goodbye, pretty water. Alright, we're back to normal. I'm already forgetting what the shaders looked like. Let's stop grieving the loss and get on with something. By the way, while I'm making this quest board, I should apologise for something. You might hear it in my voice, but I have been very sick recently, and I have had no energy or time to record videos, so that's why there's been nothing on the channel for about a week. Alright, these are our quests for today. I want to start off by building a dock, complete with a pirate ship. I want to build a fishing cabin, and then I want to get a name tag so we can actually name our animals. A name tag is technically the easiest quest we have today, but I don't want to start with something easy, I want to start with something fun, so instead of that, we're going to be building the dock and pirate ship first. This is almost definitely a waste of wood, but I'm making these pillars go all the way to the seafloor. The dock isn't going to be too big, it's only me in this world and I only need one ship. I'm not quite that tyrannical, so yeah, one big ship I think will do me. So I think our dock is just going to be a capital L shape. It's going to come out to about here, and I think that's going to be it. This is going to be where it ends. I mined like 20 stacks of wood in preparation for this video, but because I'm making these pillars go all the way to the seabed, I'm running through those reserves very quickly. Whatever, it's not like you're gonna hear me complaining. If I have to use more resources to get these small details in, then I'm gonna do it. You know how I feel about small details, they pull everything together, and I am still dying on that hill. Well, there's the finished dock in all of its glory, and I know, this is my most impressive build to date that will not be topped by anything else for at least another 50 episodes, so please, don't get your hopes too high, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Pirate ship in Minecraft tutorial, and search. No, I'm joking. Of course we're not going to be using a tutorial. We're going to freehand this thing. I'm not too sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet. I'm really quite bad at building pirate ships, but that's the point of a forever world, to try new things and improve over time. The process I'm following is going to be pretty simple. I'm just going to take it layer by layer. Typically, ships are wider at the top and get thinner where the hull is underneath the water. So if I make the kind of body up here a little bit larger, I can kind of thin it out as we go down. I got the first layer of the body done, and this thing is girthy. I'm not going to make it smaller, even though it is quite large, because despite the size, you know, I like it. I think it's good. That's what she said. Why I decided to build from the middle down baffles me. This is so inconvenient and really annoying. The hardest part about building a pirate ship is the bottom. It all curves to a point, and well, if you know anything about a game of blocks, circles aren't the easiest thing to make, so I think so long as we can nail the hull, the rest of it is going to be child's play. I'm learning the hard way that I can't build for longer than 2 minutes without being jumped by drowned. I will say though, this is looking promising. It's not nearly as difficult as I thought it would be. It looks more like an oversized rowboat than a pirate ship though, which does bother me a little bit, but you know, trust the process. Got a nice view from the top floor as well. That looks quite nice from up here. The ship is also going to be a bit waterlogged by the looks of things. I mean, I don't think that matters too much. It's not like this thing is going to move anyway. This pirate ship doesn't look that big from the dock, but this has taken almost all of my oak logs to build, and we're not even finished with the bottom. These drowns are such a pest. How am I meant to get anything done underwater when they're jumping me every 3 seconds? Thank God we're finally done with the underwater section. Building the ship wasn't even the hard part, it was just keeping myself safe from drowns. I will say though, it's looking pretty good. It's going to be filled with water for a while. I'm probably not going to clear that out. I mean, after all, the ship isn't going to be moving anywhere, is it? The upper layers of the ship shouldn't be too hard to build. I don't really need to build any more fancy curves. All I need to do is just bring this layer out and up a few times. You have no idea how tempted I am to slap some British flags on this thing and start colonising the Minecraft world, but I've already done a parody video of the British Empire, so I think it's out of my system. I'll probably design this boat after something else. I've got a really cool idea for the ship, but I don't know if it's going to turn out how I want. I want to make the ship look a little bit curved at either end, and then add a rope connecting to the masts that looks like the ship is kind of being held together by a flimsy rope. well, maybe not flimsy, but I want to make it look like a rope is connecting the entire ship. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but it's going to involve curving the ship up a little bit. That's why I'm going to take the spruce wood up a few layers as we go towards the front. Something a bit like this. There we go, it's officially built up on both the front side and the back side, and I think that's going to be the official shape of the ship done. Now we just need to start adding the details like the masts and the sails. Alright, what I'm adding now to the front of the pirate ship is called a bowsprit. This is a real part of ship anatomy, and it's used to balance the sails so you can have larger sails that extend past the front of the ship. There you go, you learn something new every day. I came up with this really good rope design when I was testing in my creative world, so instead of using something like fences, I actually found out you could use alternating stairs upside down and then the right way up to make a pretty convincing looking rope. The rope is going to be connected to the first mast, so before I can put the masts in, obviously I need to put the actual deck of the ship in, so that's what I'm doing now. It's just a lot of wood. I'm not really putting too much detail on the floor. The mast is going to be made of stripped spruce logs, so, you know, I kind of have to strip this as I'm going up. Oh god, I think I've made this too high. Oh no, I can reach that, we're fine. And yeah, this is going to be quite high by the looks of things, and this is actually going to be the second shortest mast. The tallest mast is going to be the one in the middle, and probably a quarter higher than this one, and this one is already pretty massive. So we're in for quite a big build here, but suppose that's what pirate ships were. They were quite gigantic. This very well might come back to bite me, but I'm taking a chance and freestyling the masts here. If I want to get a good look at them, I need to go all the way back down to the bottom, which from this height isn't easy, so I'm going to get as much progress as humanly possible done before going down and checking, and if there's any tweaks that need to be made, they can be made afterwards. Alright, I'm putting in the last rope now, and I haven't actually stepped back to take a look at it, so the first time I see this will be the first time you see this, so let's hope I've done well. Well, I'll be damned, that doesn't just look okay, that looks absolutely amazing. I am very happy with how that turned out, especially for freestyling it for the most part. I'm almost tempted to say that this is on track to be my favourite build in this world by the time it's finished, if this level of quality continues. Which I hope it does. I've had a funny idea, but it's a kind of trust the process thing. This ship is mine, and I want people to know that it's mine, so I had the idea, what if I build a replica of my face on one of the sails? I'm working on the first sail now, the one at the front, and I'm putting a replica of my face on the sail, which I think is going to be hilarious. There she is, in all of her glory, my face plastered on the front of my pirate ship. What could be better than this? The ultimate fuel for my ever-growing ego. I know you want to see it again, so here's a better angle. So I added the second and biggest sail. This one is not going to have my face on it. I think it'll be too much if I add my face on every single sail, because I think this ship is going to have about 5 of them. So I think it's best if I just leave some of them with the basic pattern of red and white stripes, and I only have the front one with my visage on it. There you go. There's your word of the day, visage. I was really freaking myself out about building these sails. I had it in my head that this was going to ruin the pirate ship because sails are cloth and cloth is hard to build. Well, turns out, not so much if you simplify it. There you go, there's the second, well, technically the third sail done, but the second one you saw me build done. I needed a lot more wool for these than I gave myself credit for, so I'm really glad I overloaded my sheep farm with different colours. I have about, I think, 5 or 6 stacks of wool, and, well, let's just say I'm needing every single block. Fourth sail is now complete. I'm gonna add one more above this, and that'll be the final sail on the ship. Well, that's all the sails done. I don't really have enough wool for anymore. Those 35 blocks of white wool in my hotbar are the last ones I have left, so even if I wanted to add any more, I couldn't. What a mighty vessel that is. Isn't she beautiful? I need a name for this ship. There's no way I'm just letting this thing sit here without a groundbreaking title. You need to come up with something cool because quite frankly I don't have the brain power for it right now. I'm still recovering from my life-threatening illness and I don't want to do all the work. So do me a favour and leave some suggestions for the ship name in the comments. Thank you. Alright, it's time to knock out the second quest of the day, and that is to get a name tag, and believe you me, I'm about to finish this quest in 30 seconds flat. I already have a plethora of librarian villagers, and if you don't know, once you get a librarian villager to master, they'll sell you name tags. So we're gonna ride over to the village and finish that right now. Okay, maybe not 30 seconds flat, I don't actually have any emeralds, so I need to do a tiny little bit of stick farming first. Just give me a minute, alright? We're having a little bit of difficulty. Here's my master librarian, and as you can see, he sells a name tag. I actually only have enough for one, which is a little bit disappointing. I have two very special animals I'd like to name, that being my horse and my dog, but it looks like we're just gonna have to do one for now. Oh, shit. Really? That's my first death? I was expecting to, like, I don't know, die to the Ender Dragon or the Wither in an epic duel. My first death is falling off a ladder? Are you serious? I am fuming right now. I'm actually fuming even more because that was completely my fault. That was entirely avoidable if I was just a little bit more patient and decided not to jump down the bloody ladder shaft. I was only going down there for some cobblestone so I could make some fence posts for lamps, and I've gone and died because of it. That is my first death in this series, by the way. I'm not exactly sure what day it is. I think it's around day 160, and I have just kicked the bucket to falling off a ladder. Oh well, I suppose all is not lost, at least my stuff's still here. I am a little bit devastated though. I really wanted to make it, I don't know, at least to the Ender Dragon without dying. I would be happy with that, but no, that just wasn't in the cards for me, I guess. Just my luck that a raiding party shows up after I've suffered a humiliating defeat. They're preying on my weakness and I'm not gonna have it. Just because I'm down on my luck doesn't mean I'm not going to slaughter them. By the way, if you're wondering what I was needing the stone for, it was so I could build these little lanterns along the path. I've noticed that the path is very dangerous at night time and I want to change that, so I'm erecting little lanterns along the road. I'm so upset with myself, I'm making myself a little grave to commemorate the moment. I think I'm going to do this for every death I have in this world. Eventually we can construct a whole graveyard, but for now I've only died once. I only get one headstone. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Srednik or Dio, which one of those will be named in this game. Dio, it's you, I love you most. I ain't slandering Srednik or anything like that. He's very useful and very special to me, but at the end of the day, dog is man's best friend. Right, a fishing cabin. This is a tough one. For this I want to use a new palette of blocks. I feel like I've been using the same blocks in every build that I've done so far. So for this build I'm going to challenge myself to use something new. First up on that agenda is some nether wood. We already know where a crimson forest is, but I'm not really in the mood for crimson wood. I'm in the tongue twister, I'm sorry. I'm in the mood for warped wood. That is tough to say. I'm in the mood for some warped wood, so that's what we're going to go try and find now. The plan is to just walk in a straight line until eventually I discover something other than basalt delta. The only issue with that is, to go forward I need to cross this giant lava lake, so as much as I'm going to dislike this, I'm going to need to make a little bridge here. Well, I didn't get shot off by ghasts, so that's a positive, but I'm still going to thicken up this bridge anyway, because knowing me, I'm going to walk off this. Now it's just back to mining through the basalt. I do have a good pickaxe between episodes. I am working on enchanted books and improving my tools. I don't think it's particularly interesting, so I don't record most of it, but just know that it's happening in the background. Well, we're out and about, and I'm also using this opportunity to gather some quartz. I don't need quartz for this build, but eventually I am going to want quartz, at least for something. I'm not too sure yet. There's the Crimson Forest. That must mean we're going in the wrong direction. I'm going to take a left. I'm going to go try the other way. Aha! Speak of the devil and he shall appear. There was in fact a Crimson Forest not too far to the left. It's not massively close to my portal, so making this trip isn't exactly convenient, so I'm definitely going to get a lot of it so I don't have to come back here. I'm also grabbing some of this warped nylium. I love this stuff. This is so good for texturing with warped wood. I can definitely do something with this, and I am going to try and integrate it into the fishing cabin somehow. Alright, I'm leaving with a few stacks of warped wood and a few stacks of warped nylium. I think that's going to be enough. I don't plan on making this build too big. It is just a cabin after all, a cabin designed for fishing, so hopefully it's not going to take too many blocks. If I need to come back here, I'm going to be very disappointed in myself. Alright, but we are not done yet though. Call me crazy, but I want a little bit more for this build than just warped wood. When I said an extravagant palette, I really meant it. I'm going hunting for some more wood types, particularly I'm looking for mangrove. I could use crimson wood, but that's more pink than red, and I want the blue and red contrast, so the best thing that I can find is going to be mangrove. The only issue is I don't know where a mangrove biome is, so we've got to go on a little bit of an adventure. I'll tell you one thing, I shouldn't have done this at night time. I left in the evening and already it's pitch black and I'm getting shot at by skeletons every few meters, so yeah, definitely an oversight on my part. Here's a tip, by the way, if you don't want to get lost, just pick a stream and follow it. Most Minecraft streams go on for a long time and they will lead to exactly what you want! Speaking of, there's the mangrove forest. But yes, a good tip. Follow streams. Chances are they'll go on for a while and they will lead you through many different biomes, and as I have just demonstrated, it works wonders. So how does one mine mangrove trees? Believe it or not, this is my first time doing it in survival Minecraft. I've never actually found a mangrove swamp before. I haven't played survival not to this magnitude in quite a long time. So yeah, do I just like, I take it it's the same, the leaves are going to drop saplings. Oh, they grow in like a weird pattern though. Oh, there you go. I'm pretty sure that's the sapling for the mangrove tree. From the very little I know about mangrove trees, I think those little stem things are the saplings. Well, I don't know about you, but I'd consider that a very successful adventure. We got our wood, our horse is still alive, and we know how to get home. So I'm on my way back home, and I somehow managed to miss a desert temple on my way there. It must have been because it was nighttime, but I completely glossed over this. This is actually pretty near to spawn as well. I'm pretty amazed I've not seen this until now. I'm not gonna destroy this too thoroughly. I want to kind of transform this into a base, maybe. Renovate it, if you will. I've always had an interest in that kind of thing. You see YouTube videos of like transforming Minecraft structures. I've always wanted to do one of those myself, so I'm gonna try and keep this mostly intact so I can do that later on. The best thing I got from the temple was iron horse armor. I was hoping for an armor trim. I don't know if you can actually get an armor trim from the desert temple. If you can, I didn't. No golden apple, well, yes, golden apples, no enchanted golden apples, which is a bit of a bummer, but you know what, Shreddick's got some new drip, so I don't think I can complain too much. Alright, it is time to build our fishing cabin. Don't worry too much about the location, it isn't right next to my base. It's across the ocean. If you follow the coastline where the statue is, you can see it over there, you'll eventually come to this little overhang here. It's almost like a cliff face, it's very steep, and I thought, what better place to put a rickety fishing cabin than at the top of this cliff. Full transparency, by the way, this is almost completely free-handed. I've got no plan for this build other than the colour palette, which I want to be mainly red and blue. So I want this house to be built on a balcony that is over the ocean, basically. I want it to look really unstable and like it's worn down with age. To really emphasise that feeling of unstable, I'm not even going to finish the balcony. I'm basically going to make it look like that, like maybe, I don't know, a high wave has come up and degraded the wood over time. Maybe it's just fallen off in a landfill, but the point is the cabin is on its last legs. I'm going to have very rickety dark oak support beams holding it up from beneath. They're not going to be thick and they're not going to be sturdy, but that's kind of the point. I want you to look at this place and think, oh, who in their right mind would live there? And the answer is nobody. This house is dedicated to crazy fisher people who live in the middle of nowhere catching salmon. The palette is mostly going to be red and blue, but I am going to trim this out with dark oak. I think it's going to look a little bit weird if it doesn't have something to contrast. Ow! If it doesn't... Bro, chill, relax. My god. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I think this build is going to look weird if it doesn't have something to blend those two colours. Red door and a red window frame. I think that looks quite nice. The roof's going to be red as well, so I'm going to have little hints of red throughout the build, and I think things like this is going to be quite a nice detail. Red for the roof, and I'm just going to make it look like it's slapped on there. I don't want a fancy roof. This is supposed to be a rudimentary fishing cabin, maybe set up by local villagers or whatnot, but point is, it's not going to be architecturally impressive. It's just going to be a little landmark. There you go. That's nice. I've added a little bit of depth and texture to it by not keeping everything on the same layer. You can thicken out by doing these kind of wave patterns, makes the wood look more worn, makes it look like the build has been here for a while. Overall, quite happy with that roof. I like the way it looks. I'm just detailing the other walls, and I'm thinking something like this, some simple windows, nothing too fancy, but blending the red on the walls does complement it on the roof as well. I'm going to have some plants around this side of the house. I don't want every wall to have the same details, so this is a nice way to break it up. And the last wall is going to be very simple, just a little crimson channel going down the middle. Maybe that could be a drain pipe or something. I imagine it rains quite heavily out here, so that's your little drainage pipe. I think next up I need to put a fence around this balcony. There we go, a nice little broken fence, of course. Anything that is towards the ocean is going to be more run down. Now, I brought that warped nylium along for a reason. I'm going to texture these walls. I don't do texturing often in survival Minecraft because it takes a lot of resources and oftentimes it doesn't add a whole lot to the build, but in this case the build is small enough and the texturing is simple enough for me to be bothered doing it. I'll admit, it's starting to feel quite cozy in here. I don't know, it's looking good, but I feel like it's missing something. I found a shipwreck on my way back home. It's comfortably placed between my base and the fishing cabin. I'm surprised I haven't seen this one yet, but you know, no time like the present. Doesn't look like it's got anything good though, so I'm not wholly stoked. Wow, okay, I was proved very wrong. The shipwreck had a buried treasure map, and the buried treasure is right next to my base. Never seen that before. I mean, the loot's okay, nothing I haven't seen before. Well, that was a pretty eventful episode if I do say so myself. I'm very sorry I didn't get anything out sooner. Again, I have been very ill, but thank you very much for watching. I love each and every one of you. Thank you, and bye-bye. Subscribe.